Hi everyone, this is Amanda, also known as Odd Lasdo, also known as Sailor Shippost. I'm just inserting a little announcement here in the beginning of this episode that we have opened pre-orders on the Madoka Magicast buttons, the heart-shaped buttons that were designed by friend of the show, Errol. Extra surprise twist, there's also a Homura button, so you can get a Madoka button and a Homura button. They're super cute. They're available with and without the name of the show on the buttons. If you're interested, you can go to oddlasdo.bigcartel.com. So that's oddlazdo.bigcartel.com. Or if you go to our Twitter at Madoka Magicast, I'm sure it would be easy to find the links there too. And also, our Patreon is now open. If you join the $5 tier, you automatically get one of those buttons, so please consider supporting the show, and thank you to everyone who has already supported us on Patreon or bought a pin. It's really super awesome. Thank you so much. It really helps lessen the burden on our pockets to produce this show, so thank you very much. Anyway, on with the podcast. Hello and welcome to Madoka Magicast, a podcast devoted to the dark magical girl anime Puella Magi Madoka Magica. I'm your host Amanda, and I'm joined by my hosts Yasha and Vanna, who are the owners of the biggest revolutionary girl Utena website, Empty Movement.
Hi!
Hello! We are watching the series together. They're watching it for the first time. And on this podcast, we talk about what we love and don't love about the show. And today we're doing part 2 of episode 10.
Because it's huge.
There's just so much.
So much to talk about. It's ridiculous.
It's so great.
You know what's cool? In the meantime of us taking a break just now, because we're recording these 2 parts one after the other. Excuse me. We actually got another comment on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Which I thought was interesting enough for us to maybe share.
Mm-hmm.
So, Zra Sava on YouTube says, I didn't quite get the soul gem thing either. So this is with regard to episode 8 where Sayaka turns into a witch.
Yeah.
I didn't quite get the soul gem thing either. To the show's credit, Sayaka is the only one who seems to dwell on it. Most other characters are initially horrified by that fact, which, considering how they find out, makes sense, but accept it as a fair trade for their powers. I think it works as an issue of identity. They die if this rock they carry around breaks, but not necessarily if their bodies break. The bodies they have perceived their whole lives as me aren't their true form anymore. I can see how that might freak someone out if they just thought about it too hard. Also, I think Sayaka is just looking for reasons to hate herself at this point. Being able to call herself a zombie was not great for her.
Yeah,
which is
I'm feeling that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a good point. Kind of like she would have ended up here by some means anyway, and that was just the means that showed up first.
Gave her an extra vehicle for some self-loathing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, were we gonna reintroduce the writer, director, all of that, or?
I don't think that's necessary.
I don't think we need to.
Yeah.
Same as last time. Go back to our
same as
last
last
podcast.
Why are you
and
listening
still
to this
episode
episode
10.
if you haven't listened to the other one?
It's episode 10.
Yeah. So, I think we left off on Homura stealing guns from the Yakuza. Hi, Sam!
Yep.
He's
Hi,
back.
handsome. He's back.
he fell asleep and then he woke up while we were taking a
Now
break.
he's cranky.
Well, he knew we were about to talk about Sayaka again. So.
It's true.
Mhm.
Sam,
Yeah.
you came back for Sayaka. He stands forever.
Mm-hmm.
He does.
He really does.
A few minutes ago in this episode, Sayaka was being grouchy. And now we see that she has turned into a witch in this timeline, too. So, It's Octavia von Seckendorf here. If you look really closely, she's a little bit different from how she is.
Yeah,
in
she
the
really
main
is.
timeline.
For one, her minions are different.
Her minions
Yes.
look like Hitomi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like last time it was just the orchestra, but now they're all kind of Hitomi looking.
And now she's got like a laser light show going on during her orchestra.
She got a glow up.
She did.
Yeah.
I would why would it look different in this timeline?
Slightly different circumstances, I guess.
Yeah, slightly different circumstances of what exactly happened that made her fall into despair.
If you want to get into, dark headcanons, maybe in this timeline, she killed Hitomi.
That's why her very prominent
That's what I was
theory.
That's what I was getting at. Because in the first timeline, she ends up the way she does. Madoka's not a magical girl. And I feel like that kind of shifts the focus of what Sayaka would have been dwelling on. Because now she's got this group where she's the magical girls and they're all like a team. So that's not the negative aspect of her life as much anymore.
Right.
Whereas the shit going down with Hitomi and
fuckboy.
Her fuckboy probably played a lot bigger a part this time around in like her slow decline, because the same, I feel separated from my body because of this thing that my soul is now contained in. You saw the seeds of that get planted in the regular timeline as well, where she's like, how could he want me? I'm a zombie now, blah 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And maybe instead of the why should I be fighting to save humans, and she got to be more, why should I have any attachment to this world? I'm a fucking zombie and he'll never want me. And that's kind of more the direction she took. And that's why you have the stage with the dancing Hitomis, and because you're still in the big theater, so it's still like all of that.
Yeah.
But the focus of her anger is now on something else.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like it could be potentially just the opposite, because I doubt that scene where her soul gem got thrown off the bridge happened in this timeline.
Yeah.
Because Homura acted so shocked when that happened that I'm going to guess that was the first time anything like that had ever happened.
Yeah, that's fair.
So... Is this not the first timeline where Madoka hasn't made the contract?
No, Madoka has.
No, she's made a contract.
No, I mean like the original one. Like the show one.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. There's the one after this where she makes the contract right before...
Yeah, right at the end.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But she must not have done it this time, because she definitely... Yeah, you're right. Homura was I think genuinely shocked that time around.
Yeah,
so.
But also you might be right, because I'm sure the topic of their soul gems being souls had to have come up when Homura was trying to explain the witch thing to them.
Yeah.
Right? So, I don't know. But Sayaka was also in denial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
is there like a different, is there any sort of different description anywhere for this witch, or...
No, it's the same.
It's considered
it's
the same
Pokedex information for her.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's still, that's a really neat touch that they changed the witch somewhat.
Yeah, so they're all calling out to her pretty much in the same way that Madoka and Kyoko tried to in the last episode.
Yep.
And they're getting their butts kicked. And Madoka's about to get hurt by a bunch of wheels, and Homura runs up, stops time. She kind of takes out a gun and deftly shoots each wheel that's about to hit Madoka and disposes of each of them. And then as she's finishing that, she looks up at Octavia and she takes out a bomb and she says, she apologizes like, I'm really sorry about this, Miki-san. But, I've been through this already a few times and I already know what needs to be done here. So she's not really hesitant here when it comes to having to do this. She's just doing what needs to be done already. She's at the point where she's like, this is what I have to do, even though I regret having to do it. So the bomb explodes Octavia, the labyrinth melts away, and everyone is pretty upset about this and the fact that Homura was right all along.
I do want to... I want to interrupt just a little bit here, because we had thought that maybe in the last time they didn't meet Kyoko because Kyoko never had a reason to show up because Mami didn't die.
Right.
But Mami didn't die in this timeline either.
Okay, right. The only thing I can think of is that there was some other reason for her to have to.
Well, Kyoko shows up on Kyubey's direction.
Kyoko shows up.
He's like, well, now there's new turf, go for it.
But, in a meta sense, Kyoko shows up when Sayaka shows up. That's, I mean...
She's part of her storyline.
Foils for each other, and they're part of the same enclosed kind of storyline.
So it makes sense that Kyoko is going to show up anytime.
Yeah, anytime Sayaka does. That would be something I'd be interested to learn or hear about, if there was a timeline where Kyoko showed up and Sayaka didn't become a magical girl.
I'm sure something could have happened where Sayaka was like, well, come on, we eliminated all the witches in this area, let's move on over here. And it was part of Kyoko's territory, and that's how she got... What
I really like, because, I mean, I like a lot of science fiction. We're both Star Trek trash. Mm-hmm. So, the concept of, like, time travel being incorporated into stories is both one of my least favorite and favorite things, because it's like a high risk, high reward. It's so easy to just make it just completely fucking garbage. Shit. And what I really appreciate about this one is they're not, like, coming out and telling you, they're showing you basically the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
Like, there's all these little variations, and, it could literally have been a difference in how Kyubey worded something to Sayaka, or, a difference of, what Kyoko stole that week and whether she crossed paths with somebody on accident.
These specific reasons.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of ignoring the specific reasons because they could be almost anything. They're like a cloud of possibilities.
Right.
But, like, narratively speaking, I think it's really interesting and kind of sweet that Kyoko shows up when Sayaka does.
It is. She that's her girl. She can't save her, though.
Their fates are connected.
Because she's too busy stealing food,
like
I would be.
Narratively speaking, it is basically their fate is connected.
That's fair.
When one shows up, the other does too. That's why I was saying it would be interesting to know if there was ever a timeline, like actually documented, whatever in whatever other canon or interviews or whatever, where Kyoko showed up but Sayaka wasn't a magical girl.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to, like, wonder what circumstances would lead to it. And I like that they're, like, Homura is on quite a mission here, because when you do the whole, like, fractured time variations, results change kind of thing, it is literally you're picking from thousands of possible outcomes, and in her case, not only are you picking among them, but you have to make them happen.
Yeah.
And the only way she can learn to make it happen is to keep trying and to figure out where this fucking butterfly is, and when it's going to flap its wings at the right moment to make all of these circumstances go the way they want. So she's, like, basically playing God over these, like, 30 days of time, but she's a God that has to learn.
But, like, that's the other thing about it.
This is Groundhog Day. She is in control of this world. She just has to know how to manipulate it the right way.
Exactly. And the fact that they get that across in, like 24 minutes of time?
Yeah.
So
that's
vividly
really
is,
impressive.
like, this is just such a fucking tight episode. They just do so much with this.
So good.
Yeah.
Fuck. So
the girls realize what just happened. Kyoko reacts with anger. She's clenching her fist. Madoka's crying. They're each coping with this as they would. And how does Mami cope? Well,
busting.
She uses her ribbons to restrain Homura, and she kills Kyoko. She shoots Kyoko's soul gem and kills her. Kills her dead.
Yep. Well, Mami's major motivation was to kill witches, and if she knows that they're going to become witches, this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And Mami does seem like the kind of person who would absolutely follow through on that.
And she is, we already know that she's, like, barely holding on to her veneer of having things together.
Well, she's got so many people with her now. If her power was solitude, now she's in a group.
Yeah.
This is where she's her weakest by far.
And we were talking earlier about how if she was a philosophy, she would be stoicism, where you accept your lot in life and you just do your best. So here is Mami being confronted with the truth that this system she has devoted herself to actually is complete bullshit, and she's wasting her time.
And so she tries her hardest, basically, to
mitigate damage by killing all of them.
Yeah, she just snaps, basically.
Yeah,
she can't cope with this. She can't cope with this information at all.
Which is kind of funny to me, because, like, if you're not thinking, wow, we're only halfway through this episode, and you're thinking of it in terms of, like, magical girl, for a moment, this seems like the best timeline, because now you have all of them alive, working together, and possibly taking on Walpurgis as a group that could feasibly kill her with less damage taken. And then Mami just snaps and kills people. It's just like, you know what I felt like when I saw this? When I saw the, like, gem shatter, I was like, I don't know why I expected this to go any other way.
Yeah.
I had, like, that moment, like, oh, I just got told.
Yeah.
All right,
I don't know. I love the fact that even when Mami snaps, she snaps in a way that adheres to her perception of the situation anyway.
It doesn't feel like we snapped just to be dramatic. It's absolutely the end result of what her personality would lead her to.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like, she's crying, she's sobbing. She points her gun at Homura, and she has this great line. She says, "If soul gems give birth to witches, then we have no choice but to die, both me and you." In Japanese, this was a meme, if I remember correctly, this line that she had.
Oh, really?
So she's about to kill Homura, but what happens but a pink arrow flies onto the screen and hits the soul gem on the side of her head, and Madoka kills her first. And I love that Mami is so determined here that she actually gets a shot in before she completely dies.
Yep. Mm-hmm. She misses, but damn, girl.
She was committed to killing Homura all the way to that point.
Funny, but I actually kind of read that as, like, because, you know, your muscles contract a little bit when you die. Mm-hmm. So I actually read it as, oh, well, she's dead, but she still went through the physical shock of it. I think either way you read it is
the signal to do it had already been sent to her body before her brain got blasted out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's some commitment.
That is some commitment. I like that. But
Madoka's not happy about having to do that.
Oh no, this is extremely not Madoka.
No. Not in the slightest. She collapses crying. She's sobbing uncontrollably. She's saying, you know, I didn't want this. I can't take any more of it. It's too much. And Homura just calmly walks over to her and says, listen, you and I can still beat Walpurgis Nacht. It's going to be okay. And this is Homura not really responding to what Madoka's actually upset about. Mm-hmm. This is Homura kind of talking to herself. Like, it's okay, me and you will defeat Walpurgis Nacht. Whereas Madoka's crying about having to kill her friend just now.
Yeah.
She's not really thinking about Walpurgis Nacht.
Like, she tried.
Yeah.
She tried.
Yeah.
I mean, she's not the best at reading people.
She's trying.
She's trying, and she does succeed.
Yeah.
She redirects Madoka.
Yeah, it does serve that purpose.
Unfortunately, we are back at the aftermath scene.
With the hands.
Exact same outcome. Walpurgis Nacht.
This time they're both there. Both hands crossed, and both have their soul gems dying.
Yeah. Walpurgis Nacht was beaten, but here they are again, about to die, or about to become witches. Homura asks her if she has any more grief seeds. Madoka says no. They have kind of a quiet moment where they realize what's going to happen. And Homura tearfully, like trying to grasp for some kind of positivity, says, well, we could just become... Oh, hi, Sam. I know, it's sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm crying already.
I know. Homura's like, we could just become witches and tear up this rotten world together until we've destroyed everything and there's nothing left and there's no more evil and no more sadness, and, you know, wouldn't that be great? And she's crying and smiling as she says
it. This is like peak romantic Yasha shit right here. I'm
sorry, I can't help being the way I am.
Let's watch the world burn together. Ooh.
I mean, if you think this isn't exactly how this would end up with you and me,
oh no, I
terrible
know.
Madoka, though.
I would be the worst fucking Madoka, but this would totally be us.
Yeah.
And that's why I would be the worst Madoka. I'd have the the grief scene be like, nope!
Nope, we're gonna both be
evil together forever. High five.
So to Homura's shock, Madoka did have a grief seed. She touches it to Homura's soul gem and uses it on her. Fun fact, that is definitely Sayaka's grief seed. You can
really?
You can see that it has the crescent symbol on it.
Oh, yeah.
Damn. Yikes.
So, you know, Homura is shocked. She says, what are you doing? Why didn't you use that on yourself? And, you know, Madoka says, oh, sorry, I lied about having one more, but I used it on you for a reason, because you can do something that I can't do. You can go back in time. So, you know, I want you to go back in time and stop me from becoming a magical girl, and don't let Kyubey fool me again. Don't let him trick me.
You know what? Yeah, I just realized, so, like, this whole business of her doing time over and over and over again, it was, so it really was never Homura's idea to not let her become a magical girl.
Yeah.
She kept thinking there could be a positive outcome where both of them were magical girls together, because that's what she wants. She wants to be together with Madoka, but now Madoka is asking her to do something that breaks that, because if she's already a magical girl and that ship has sailed already no matter what timeline you're in.
Yeah.
But Madoka's asking to never have become one in the first place.
And to Homura's credit, that's exactly what she does.
And she definitely, and, like, now that I think of it, like, no wonder she has, like, this newfound, like, strength of cause, because now she's heard it from the horse's mouth what Madoka wants. Whereas up to now, she's been doing what she thinks everybody wants, which is what she wants, because she's being selfish. But, time has passed for her too, and she's evolved to the point where now she would rather do what Madoka wants, even though she knows that's not going to go well for her. Yeah. Because now she's not going to get to be with her.
Madoka is directly telling her what she wants here.
Yeah. And it is extremely surprising how often people can do that, and the people they tell don't fucking listen. So
so credit I give her to Homura there for actually listening once she was given the direction.
Exactly.
We're gonna come back to that.
We're gonna come back to that? Okay.
So, here's where I would normally start crying, but I'm thankful for you guys to be talking to me.
I heard it. I heard it for a second there.
Yeah.
We shitposted
Madoka asks her for one more thing before she becomes a witch. She says, you might be right that there's a lot of bad stuff in the world, but there's lots of good stuff worth protecting too. And she says, I don't want to turn into a witch and destroy the world. So she basically asks her to kill her. Like she holds up her soul gem. And this is just the most awful thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is a lot.
It's
you know what? This is the kind of scene you get to do in a frame like this and let it just be impactful instead of being visually gory, because it's the gem and not her face.
Yeah, this isn't like super explicitly violent. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you don't need a magical girl hanging herself and pissing her pants here to get get the effect that you need. This is just what's going on in the characters in the story in this moment. You know what I'm saying?
They don't even use the gunshot sound effect.
No, they don't. You see the bright light, but that's it.
You hear Homura screaming, which is horrible, and then you see the flash of the gunshot, and then the actual noise doesn't go off.
Yeah.
You know what this is? This is like the kind of, when I think of like shit, this got done this well, this is kind of like Kaoru dying, where I feel like that is the best way they could have done that. And I kind of feel like that with this sequence. Like,
I mean, we should probably outline the Evangelion sequence just in case somebody hasn't seen it.
Shinji has to kill his best friend, and for about a minute and a half, his boyfriend. For about a minute and a half, he just stares at him while he's holding him with his giant robot. And then, it's playing Ode to Joy, cuts off, and then you just see, like, you hear a squish, and you see Kaoru's head fall into the water.
Yep.
But it's not graphic. It's more just like, ugh!
Yeah.
This has the same, like, energy as, like, ugh!
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really do think, I do just love this to death, because it's taking advantage of its medium so well, because the soul gem is what she has to shoot.
Yeah.
It's taking advantage of not having to imply physical violence the same way, to let it just have, like, the brute force emotional impact of having to destroy
purely emotional violence at that point.
Exactly. Like, it's that's well use of the deception. So
yeah. Press F to pay respects.
Press F. F. Press F multiple times. Yeah, no,
this is usually where I have to stop the video and just cry for 5 minutes. It's like, this is the worst.
I know.
The worst thing you can possibly imagine.
It earns this.
The
show earns this. It's
honestly though, Vanna, I was like, I'd do that for her.
Yeah, same. Yeah. But that's why it's horrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is either you could do it or you couldn't, and really either answer is horrifying to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, whichever one you think you'd be capable of doing, you're not happy.
No.
Either way. So it's definitely, it's very well done. But the silver lining is they both know she's about to go back in time to where they were both alive anyway. Yes. So there is, like, a silver lining in the sense that neither of them is thinking this is the permanent end. But still, it's fucking awful.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
It's
all right.
I'm
gonna get that image off the screen for you. How about that?
Moving on.
Moving on! Now we're in timeline 4. This is the one where she just, like, leaps the fuck out of bed and is like, it's time to go to business because now I actually have a God-given / Madoka-given purpose.
She snaps awake with, like, like with like 1,000-yard stare already.
Yes.
on her face.
She's seen it, which I mean, makes sense. This is the point between where she's doing this. Not, I wouldn't say for funsies, but now she's for realsies because she just had to watch Madoka die and all this awful stuff, and she's carrying that now. So the first thing she does is fix her eyes because she could have done that at any time.
Let's get fucking serious here.
We're serious.
Yeah. We're
so
getting
she
rid
fixes
of these
her
fucking
eyes,
glasses.
which I love, and she takes her hair down.
I have to do every day. Screw it. I'm not doing it anymore.
I love. This I want to say something about the hair thing. Okay, so this is gonna be me on my shit. I have hair that long. That's about how long my hair is. And like multiple times in the show, you see her like running her fingers through her hair and flipping it away. And all of this stuff, and I kind of just took that to be like an affectation of how cool she is, because she's, you know, creepy and scary and weird and all this stuff. And I didn't really think much about it.
Well, until the hair flip thing is the big trope for somebody who thinks they're above all the rest.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking of it in those terms. And then, like, now that I'm looking at her, she's used to having these braids, and I'm like, oh my god, it's a fucking mood. Because 99% of the time, my hair is also braided, because I don't want it in my fucking way.
Right.
Which means the 1% of the time where I have it down, I am constantly doing shit like that, because I'm not used to it being everywhere. And so, like, it's totally, now that I'm looking, I'm like, oh, it's not that she's trying to be all scary and intimidating. Her fucking hair is in the way, and she's not used to it. And I feel it so much. And I don't even know if that's something they did on purpose, or if they were just deciding this was her being super cool, but holy shit, that is literally what you do if you have long hair and you don't always have it down.
I think it's definitely allusion to the fact that her hair was normally braided.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember somebody commented when we did the first watch, oh, I hate her hair design, why does it look like that? Mm-hmm. Because it forks in the back.
It's because it's usually braided, so the part has developed that way over time.
If they're going to pay enough attention to have that happen, then I think the hair flip thing is also... That's the kind of thing, if I was the person writing this, I would be like, you know what? I want to have a reason for the hair flip to be there. Yeah. What would be my reason for her to hair flip? You know what I mean?
It's like a great example of almost random, but not, like, plant and payoff.
Yeah.
Because they spend, like, 9 episodes planting her fidgeting with her hair, and then in episode 10, you're, like, shown why.
Right.
But I bet you 90% of the people who watched it first time around didn't see that.
No. And it's the kind of, but that's my favorite thing about Utena, and that's what I'm enjoying about this, is there's all of these little details that aren't necessary to notice. Like, the show is going to work for you either way. Mm-hmm. But when you notice, you're like, oh, no, they actually thought out to episode 10.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like,
and like,
it's really,
I'm sure,
it's neat.
I'm sure most people didn't notice the chairs and the bridges stuff either, you know, on their first initial watch. Yeah. But that's a similar thing where it's like, in there for you to pick up on if you want to pay that close attention or watch it multiple times.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just a great little detail, and it was just me like, oh, me too.
Honestly, just from my own experience with writing, the whole reason that I put details like that in is to amuse myself. Because I don't assume that anybody else is going to pick up on them.
I think, you know what?
When people do... It's so gratifying.
That's the difference. Okay, that's the difference between, like, you know how, like, I bitch because I hate when something is deliberately aimed at me because it's usually bad when they do that?
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing where it's not working out that way. It's not... These are details that are put into the show, like you said, it's almost more for the writer's sake. They're not sitting there... Like, oh, gee golly, I hope, you know, someone notices this.
Yeah.
It's for
basically,
them.
You know what I heard somebody put it this way about a video game that did all of that where, like, oh, gee, I hope somebody notices this, and the person who was reviewing this game termed it as the game shoving your head under its skirt.
Yes.
And rubbing it around a little so that you notice
You know what
everything.
Another great example of this kind of storytelling and how effective it is? Where it's like, these are details that existed literally just in the creator's head. It's not even in the story. But because it's been thought out, you can feel how much richer the story is for it. Mad Max.
Yeah, I was just about to say, fucking
There's a million little things you don't find out in the movie, but you find out they actually had a background and context for it, and it does show in the final product.
Like the fact that all those steering wheels were unique and had their own histories.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like that's the kind of that's what I get a lot from this show, and it's definitely what I think is part of what's elevating it for me. Mm-hmm. Is this is just all so thought out. But that was my rant about having long hair. Don't do it. It's a pain in the ass.
Just like not a Madoka theory, but just like an in general creative person theory. I think the reason that appeals to me and you, at least, Vanna, and I'm suspecting you too as well, Amanda, is that it shows that the creator loves their own work.
Yeah. Yeah. They wanted to engage with it on that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that they themselves are engaging on that level.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you can tell you can usually tell when something is coming from a genuine place of artistic inspiration.
Yes.
As opposed to something more cynical or money driven.
Yeah. Like stuff like that. And the Beast remake.
Yeah. And like another thing I really appreciate that, and this is something I like about Gen Urobuchi's writing too, and also Ikuhara's writing, and to a lesser extent Evangelion, is that it's a signal that the author is taking me seriously and is trusting me to notice those things.
Yeah.
And trusting me to put that together on my own. Because there's so many stories where they're so worried about the dummies in the audience.
Did you notice that? Did you see that?
Yes. Yeah, they're so worried about the dummies not getting... I mean, I really shouldn't say dummies. That's mean. They're so worried about the people who are maybe paying less attention or maybe don't get that analytical, maybe, prefer to just keep things on the surface level. They're so worried about those people not getting the things that they're really
that they don't give us any food.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like, and that's kind of a selfishness too, because there's a cheapness about it, but there's also a selfishness where like the creator is more interested in making sure the audience appreciates and notices every little detail of their effort than they are with making the work.
Yeah,
reflect that.
That's
instead.
kind of
it's
what I meant with the whole. You can tell that when they do this, it's because they love their own work. Yeah. It's like it's basically the difference between do you love the attention from your audience or do you genuinely love what you're doing and what you're creating.
Yeah, right. I can see that because like Madoka, Utanen, Evangelion all at times have this sense of like, I made this for me and you guys watching are just kind of getting to be taken along for the ride. Fuck you. Like,
and honestly, that's the kind of media I love.
That's basically our jam.
And it's like, not everyone's gonna get it, but
not everyone gets it.
I'm not making it for everyone anyway. It's not a mass marketed Hollywood product here. I'm making something that I've put a lot of thought into. And, I've worked really hard on, and if everybody doesn't get it, that's fine. But, the people who do get it...
But it's a true reflection of what I want it to be.
I'm going to give respect to the people who will take the time and pay enough attention to get what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now that we've had this giant digression,
we are back in timeline 4. Homura's fixed her eyes. She's taken her hair down. She's fucking serious now.
I think we skipped my turn in this.
Go ahead. You get to do creepy window, Homer.
I do. Which is like the worst way for anybody to convince anybody of anything.
This is so fourth timeline you.
Yeah. Yeah, this is her being mega emotional, right?
Yeah. I know.
She's really losing her grip on things here, and she's trying to hold it together as best she can.
Yeah,
but like she's taking it more seriously now, but she hasn't gotten jaded quite yet.
Worst possible way of approaching this. It really is.
But she did kill Kyubey, that's why she's in the window. I mean, and Kyubey does first appear in the window, so...
He does. So, then Homura goes after witches herself, and she stockpiles basically like a Matrix-level amount of weapons.
I think
you
she's
remember when
broken
the
into
guns,
like a military...
Lots of guns. Yeah. And she says, I won't rely on anyone anymore. I don't care if anyone understands. I won't let Madoka fight. I'll destroy every last witch if I have to. And swears to beat Walpurgisnacht herself.
But we don't go right to Walpurgisnacht.
No, we see her fighting witches.
Yeah.
And this other witch is another one that's like, body horror, fuck you viewers.
Yeah, because this witch is a pair of legs in a cage.
Yeah, I did not look up this witch, but I'm sure she does have a canon name.
I'm sure she does.
I mean, she's only in here for a few seconds, though.
Yeah, she's only there for a few seconds, but even that one's still, like, an interesting-looking witch.
It's
There's,
an
like,
interesting-looking witch. We've got the chain that's holding up the cage. We've got the
like,
gems all around. We've got this, like, compass-looking thing.
Or it's like more like a roulette table?
Baccarat. Yeah. Roulette. Yeah.
And there's, like, Lacey for the panties. And the minions all have, like, male bodies with...
Yeah, so this is like a cabaret witch, basically.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, very cabaret. But she destroys this witch, and she's like, fuck this, I'm gonna just be a badass now.
I will defeat Walpurgisnacht myself. And now we've got Walpurgisnacht, and this time she has wings? I don't know, I didn't see the wings last time.
Yeah, that's another thing where Walpurgisnacht's design changes very slightly in each one of these timelines.
Yeah.
In some of them, her sleeves are longer, her dress is longer, her gears are less prominent. There's a little bit different each time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, see, like, this time she's
got
that
the
wing
opening
design
one
going on. Yeah.
This is the one you saw at the opening of the show.
Yeah, we're back to the first scene in the show now.
Yeah, and Madoka is watching her fight, even though they don't know each other. I would love to go back and compare this. Like, is this exactly that scene, or is it, like, slightly different in any way?
It is the same scene.
Well, we get an insert there of her lying on...
Nope, that's in the first show, too.
Oh, is it?
Here's the difference. There's two differences. It's exactly the same, except now you hear what she screams. Because in the first one, you don't know what she's saying to Madoka.
Yeah.
And the implication is that aside from, like, creeping on her window... In this timeline, she thought the best thing to do was not interact with Madoka at all, keep Madoka away from all of this, and go try to do Walpurgisnacht herself.
But even then, it doesn't work.
Even then, it doesn't work. Madoka ends up there.
Madoka is still feeling for her, and Kyubey still shows up anyway and tells her that she can save this stranger, that she's feeling so much sympathy for. So not even completely cutting Madoka out of her life is not working.
Is not.
Yeah.
And there is, like...
Man, that just makes me wonder, how many damn nightmares did Madoka have before this one?
Well, Madoka's definitely got the, like, I feel like I've met you before thing, and that's why.
Well, like, the whole dream thing, like, it was presented as a dream, this sequence, when we first saw it. So that just makes me wonder, like, the time before this, did she dream... a different end.
It's totally like there's like this Jungian like grasping onto the history despite the timeline. Yeah. Because not only like so she's dreaming the end of this timeline, which indicates that on some level there's some back and forth. Even for Madoka, which might be why she ends up there. She feels compelled to walk in a certain direction or whatever. But another detail. That's why she keeps sketching the dress. It wasn't that she was designing the dress exactly. She was remembering the dress. She just doesn't realize she remembered it.
Didn't she also sketch the others?
I don't remember. I feel like maybe she
I'd
did.
have to go back and check.
She sketches Mami, but I think that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she's drawing a dress that she's seen in her dreams, and it's like, oh... more shit that now makes more sense. Yeah. Because, like, in the show, when you see it, you just figure she's daydreaming and making this cute outfit because she's daydreaming and she's got her head in the clouds. Which is true, but clearly on some level she's retained a history and knows that's the dress she'll have.
Yeah. That is going to come back in the last 2 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Excellent. I like that. But yeah, that's the difference. Is this time you know what Homura is trying to tell her, but that's it. That's the only difference. Yeah. Is Madoka does not know what she says.
So,
what we do now.
Then Madoka, of course, does not listen. Makes a wish anyway because she feels bad for her. Kyubey, of course, does his little thing where, you can prevent all of this. You can change this if you want. And Homura tries to yell that it's a trick, but Madoka does not hear. Becomes a magical girl. Defeats Walpurgisnacht. In one shot, apparently.
Yeah, she's badass.
Then becomes Gretchen again.
Same thing.
And here we are, again in the rubble, with the purple water and the white sky, and there's Gretchen starting to destroy the world, and Homer is just staring blankly into the water.
Yeah.
She's so... I wouldn't say she's defeated, but she's so, like, tired of this. Like, you can just see it in her posture. She's so tired.
Yeah, she's slumped.
Yeah.
That's interesting that Kyubey says there, wasn't she amazing when she transformed?
Yeah.
Like,
well,
I don't know. That
you
makes
would have an appreciation for the energy created.
Yeah, it just. I feel like he means something more than just the magical girl outfit, because that's...
No, I took it to mean he's talking about when she turned into a witch.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
too.
Like, because that's the part he's interested in, because that's the energy.
Kind of what I was thinking, but then he just goes back to, I thought she would become the most powerful magical girl in the world. Which, like, I don't know, there's...
Yeah, but
something's saying, grabbing me there.
He's saying he comments on her witch form, and I think in the next breath, if I remember right.
Yeah, because she becomes the most powerful witch thereby, so... Yeah. Which is lending it just like to the whole balance thing.
Yeah.
Because even when she makes her wish completely altruistically, she still becomes like, you know what I mean? Like, the outcome is the same regardless of the wish she makes and when she wishes it.
Me.
It's the balance thing. As long as she defeats the witch herself, she creates the same suffering.
The reason it's bothering me is because she's right there. He doesn't have to say, wasn't she amazing when she transformed?
Well, he's talking in past tense because he knows the world is about to die, so he's like, wasn't that incredible? Well, this is over now. I'll get the fuck out now.
There's something really weird about that. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. But basically, Kyubey says, I estimate that she'll destroy the world in about 10 days. So now we're at, like, apocalypse level of awfulness, right?
Which is incredibly
horrible. Like, how much worse could it possibly get at this point?
Pretty much.
Not a whole lot worse.
Bad.
The timeline has at this point degraded to just a complete disaster.
Yeah, and Kyubey the
Kyubey just basically is like, well, no problem.
Yeah,
gotta slide.
Oh well, not my problem anymore. We've met our quota anyway. We have more than enough.
You know what? That's the biggest. Okay, Kyubey is just being the biggest fuck you got mine here, and I hate it.
Kyubey is a white cis Republican. Pass it on.
Also, this implies to me that the incubators technically don't need to continue the magical girl scam because they've collected enough energy. They've just decided to keep going anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which implies to me that none of this was really necessary even for their own plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, we've met our quota, but oh well.
But I mean, he might have met the quota with what Madoka discharged. Because, like, he kind of... He says a couple times that... Well, like, the reason he's so interested in her becoming a magical girl specifically is because she would create so much energy.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's
true. So as far as Kyubey is concerned, she's the highest risk, highest reward, effort versus, making all of these other magical girls and dealing with their shit. Or he can make sure to coax this one in this direction, knowing
it'll kill her entire planet,
and she'll kill the entire planet. But in this one stroke, he's finished his job. A+, gets a pat on the back from upper management back home.
Right.
Maybe a promotion, a couple weeks off, something, a pen,
a nice engraved pen.
Yeah, I don't know what he gets in his business structure, entropy prevention. Department.
So then he's basically like, well, guess you better fight her. And Homer's like, no. And he's just like, nope, I'm out of here. And Kyubey's like, wait, what? Because he sees his promotion evaporating before his eyes.
Look, I'm gonna put it out there that this is actually the best timeline. If you're going by what he says is actually happening, this timeline prevents entropy from destroying the universe.
Yeah, but I mean, surely there's another way to do that.
Probably.
Okay,
but I'm saying strictly in terms of like long-term preservation of life. This is the only ending that has been implied to satisfy the requirements Kyubey is there for.
Yeah.
So I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, like from Kyubey's perspective, you're right.
Yeah. But I mean, because of the way he does it, it's wrong and bad, and it's better that entropy win because magical girl rules.
Don't humor white Republican fuck you got mine.
Oh damn. I'm getting
that
cold.
Works in the reverse too, right? Because sometimes
it does.
Sometimes I hear somebody say, this is something I've actually heard one person say, so I promise this is not a straw man, but I've actually heard someone say, well, in 1 billion years the sun is going to expand and envelope the earth, so it actually doesn't matter if we're destroying the planet with global warming. Because a billion years from now, the planet won't be here anymore.
Did you slap that person?
I'd call that a hot take, but we have enough hot in this planet right now.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same logic. Well, it's like, okay,
it is.
Yeah, but that's like a billion years from now, so fuck you. I don't give a shit about that. I care about what's happening right now.
It is. Yeah.
It's so far in the future as to be basically irrelevant.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also probably that's also the whole like morbidity and mortality thing. Mm-hmm. Like, is it really worth it to say live in pain for 20 years to get another 20 years out of your life? Or do you want to say get cortisone shots for your busted hip and maybe die a bit earlier, but you were comfortable the whole time?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Kyubey's playing that long game where it's better to just have lived as long as possible, but humans on their little pale blue dot are going to be much more inclined to be like, you know what, I'd rather just not suffer now.
It's a quality of life question, okay?
And go out early.
Yeah.
Than suffer to preserve my life by any means necessary. So, they're very different philosophies about life, and neither is exactly wrong.
Well, you can see how Kyubey's lack of emotion would inform that perspective.
Definitely. Because he's making the very unemotional choice.
If he doesn't feel misery, then taking the easy road to avoid misery doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That said, okay, I guess my question to Kyubey would be, if he had to do this to his own species, would he feel differently?
Yeah.
Would it be harder? Yeah. Like, I don't know, though, because even if you don't have emotions, you still have an instinct to preserve your own kind.
Hot take, Kyubey is from a dead-end species.
Vulcans?
No. Well, I mean, if he doesn't have emotions, then, like, what kind of survival drive can you possibly muster up?
Okay, I'm just gonna... Let's address this again from the science fiction perspective. Any character that says, oh, I have no emotions, is the most emotional character in your story.
Yeah,
Spock shows up,
doesn't have any emotions, though.
Spock shows up, I have no emotions. Has fucking emotions. Data, I have no emotions. Horseshit. Kyubey has emotions, and I do think that is implied at certain points in the series. It's just that they manifest very differently from the way ours do, and there's not as much of them. But
I can agree with that one.
He does have some emotional range. Maybe like a little bit more than Akio's emotional range.
Yeah, because we see him express confusion, smugness,
he gets sadistic, and you don't, because he gets sadistic with Sayaka's gem at one point. That is a sadistic moment, and you don't act sadistic if you have no emotions to drive you to do that. So there is stuff there. It's not enough to create empathy, obviously. But the whole, he has absolutely no emotions to inform his decision making, I don't buy that. It's just that he has shitty emotions informing his
Because Kyubey is shitty.
Kyubey is shitty. But yeah, that whole trope of I have no emotions, I don't think I've ever actually seen a version of that where I can say, yeah, no, that character displays no emotions at all.
Yeah. I don't think Kyubey is not Data, though. Kyubey is not Data.
No, he is not Data.
No.
Data would not do this. He's lore.
Okay, I do think that a part of that is due to the fact that we have emotions, they are innate to us, and we cannot turn them off. So the portrayal of a creature with no emotions is extremely hard for us.
Yeah.
And even on top of that, there's also the perception to worry about, because people are going to perceive emotion where it isn't.
Yes.
So there's a bunch of layers to a character with zero emotions.
When you depict characters like that,
it might not really be possible. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe in a short story, maybe for a very brief.
It's impossible in the way that it's impossible for us to depict the fifth dimension. We can try, but at the end of the day, we don't have any context for it. And to create a completely emotionless character, we have no context for what that would look like. We can't even look at animals and say, okay, well, animals act that way. Because animals have emotions as well.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, everything on our planet that has any kind of higher brain function has definitely got emotions.
Yeah.
I mean, I had somebody, now here's a hot take that I heard one time. I actually had somebody say that, dogs and cats and pets don't actually feel emotions at all. And I was like, have you not had a pet?
Have no pets?
Isn't that like a way religious right fringe kind of idea. Like,
yeah, it is because humans have souls and nothing else does.
Yeah.
And souls are where emotions come from, and it's utter horseshit.
I'm going to say it again. I said it when we were watching Evangelion, and I'm going to say it again. Everything that has higher brain function has a soul. Change my mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, just the basic concept of fear and a survival instinct
is an emotion.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this basically came up in the context of science fiction and why there is always this whole thing where creatures that are created by man don't have souls, and I'm just, I don't know. That's bullshit.
No.
That's straight bullshit. But anyway, we're getting off topic.
But yeah, we're getting off topic. But
I guess it's your turn, Vanna.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
All right.
We're almost done.
Now that Earth has been destroyed, basically in this timeline, and Kyubey's like, "Fuck you, got mine." Nopes out with his briefcase of entropy fighter energy. Homura is like, "Fuck this," and Kyubey does in this timeline. Kyubey does not know, and that's clearly in none of these timelines. Kyubey knows her.
Yeah,
because in none of these timelines was he aware of the kind of contract she makes. So, which he takes in stride, actually, that this magical girl goes and shows up and he has no recollection of making her.
Well, I mean,
he's like,
we can't rule out that there might be another
incubator
on the planet.
On board. Who knows? But he does seem to have some idea she's gonna do some shit, because he gets kind of like, are you? And she's like, yep, and just back in time.
Like, fuck you, bro.
So, I don't know if she walked off with, like, flying middle fingers on her way down the time hall or whatever. She was just incredibly unimpressed. But at this point, she's tried the cute way. She's tried the highly emotional but down to business way. And as she walks back in time, she's doing her, like, angry, I'm gonna do this over and over and over again until I find the one path that works speech. And instead of, she does kill Kyubey again, but you see her at a different point in the story. And this is where, Madoka meets Homura in the hallway, in the in the abandoned hallways in the schools, and find Kyubey's beat up ass.
This feels like our timeline.
This is our timeline.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because this is how she finds Kyubey exactly the same way she found him before, all beat the fuck up, and she's like, Homura, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is also, in between the last timeline and this timeline, is where I think most, if not all, of the other 99 plus timelines happened.
Yes, I think so. Like, I think that's what's kind of implied by her speech, by her doing I'm going to do this over and over again.
And the whole extended shot of her walking down the time hallway.
Yeah, and it makes me laugh because there's so much in the, like, I'm probably going to go ahead and watch the first episode again now, knowing, like, having seen some of the, like, various timelines, because now it makes more sense that she does things like take the teacher's chalk to finish her name. She's like, just fucking hurry up.
Yeah.
I got so much shit to do, just whatever. She zooms through the problem because she's done it 5,000 times already. Like, there's a lot of, like, little details like that. But yeah, this is literally like cut to that sequence, except now you're seeing it from Homura's perspective instead of Madoka's, which was the more relatable one in the sense of, oh my god, cute animal, it suffer.
Yeah.
No, that's bad. At this point, you're seeing it from Homura's perspective, and you're like, oh god, hurry, kill him again.
Kill it.
Please keep killing it.
Kill it as fast as you can.
Yes.
Actually, what I really like about this sequence is that Homura is not anywhere near as menacing or self-assured as she appears to Madoka.
No.
I love that. I love it when they take the character's perspective into account, and Homura is a lot more unsure of what to do here than Madoka ever imagined. I love those little touches
I do too.
Yeah,
I like
and
it.
the show includes a little quiet moment where when she first lays her eyes on Madoka, she hesitates to walk up to her, and she has another one of those looks on her faces of like subdued pain, kind of like the same kind of look she had on her face when she got Sayaka's soul gem off the truck, and the same thing she did when she saw Kyoko, when she left Kyoko behind, where she's like letting herself have a moment of sadness before she has to force it down again.
Yeah. Like, she's not completely dead inside. Like,
no.
She's trying to make herself Kyubey. She's trying to make it so that she acts emotionlessly because she's over multiple iterations figured out her emotions tend to bite her in the ass just like everything else does.
And
but
she's
so
human, deeply traumatized.
I mean, she's walking off some serious shit at this point.
So she's building up some coping mechanisms here in terms of turning off her emotions just out of necessity.
Yep. Are they good ones? No.
No, definitely
Are
not.
they useful ones? There's a huge difference between good coping mechanisms and useful coping mechanisms.
Spoken like the true Toga fan.
Fuck you.
Look, gotta feed my friend. But like, come on, that's totally Toga shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you can't be constructively, like, independent, then you can be destructively so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll still get by.
You'll still be functional.
This, like, I don't know, that's the, highest thing for both of those characters, Toga and Homura, is they need to function.
Yeah, their outcome is more important to them than how they feel on the journey.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Madoka's, like, completely the opposite of that. The importance of her outcome is built around how she feels about it.
Yeah.
Like, she's very emotional, but we're in a magical girl show, so that's portrayed as a positive. Same in Utena. It's still better to be driven by good emotions into a bad situation than to try to maximize your situation using bad emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair.
Whereas, in that sense, based on that, I'm gonna theorize that Homura is not gonna get what she wants.
Probably not.
She's not gonna get what she wants.
Probably not.
In fact, I don't think she's gonna get any version of what she wants.
I mean, that's
because one of them is gonna not exist. That's what I'm feeling here.
Yeah.
I'm feeling the whole, like, opening of Utena where their hands fall apart kind of shit.
Yeah.
Like, everything about this is leading you to think one of these two either doesn't exist or they can't ever meet or something like that. This isn't going to work out well.
Homura is never going to get what she wants. Madoka is going to fix things somehow, but it's not going to be in a way that's happy.
Yeah. It's going to suck ass.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a spoiler. You guys already know that. It's how we get there. But I will say that the ending of the show is very bittersweet, and that's one of the reasons I love it so much.
Yeah. No, I can definitely feel that. It's definitely building toward a bittersweet ending. Because if it were anything else, I would be totally writing off this whole show.
It wouldn't be satisfying if it were anything else.
No, that is not the show you've spent 12 episodes building up to, is some sweet happy ending.
Yeah. And that's, I don't know whether that's just like
us being sad. Yes.
Yeah. That's always the kind of media that I've liked, is because happy endings don't feel real.
Okay, question. At the end of Sailor Moon, I don't mean like at the end of the first arc, the absolute end of Sailor Moon, is everybody happy and gets what they want?
Yes, but it's after extreme misery.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone is happy, but they also probably have PTSD.
Yes.
Okay. See, but Sailor Moon is the kind of show where they are supposed to get the happy ending. Like, it's framed so differently than this.
For the most part, every season does come down to a happy ending, but it's after a lot of
killing all
struggling.
The sunshine.
Yeah, it's after a lot of struggle. So it's always depicted as still not really a romantic thing to have to go through.
It's still earned.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this, like, just the setup of this show, though, you're not earning a happy ending.
No. It doesn't seem like there is a way to get one.
Yeah, there really isn't.
It seems like there's going to be some kind of uncrossable gulf.
You know what's ridiculous? Like, we've been kind of discussing these three in conjunction because they're probably the three anime that I've analyzed the most, thought-wise, is Utena and Eva. And I'm laughing because at this point, I'm fairly sure out of the three, Eva has the happiest ending.
Yeah.
Actually.
Are we talking about the movie or the series?
No, not
the movie.
Series
fuck
ending,
the
fuck the movie.
Okay, all right.
I was 100% happy with the series ending.
The weaklings that wanted the movie can have it.
Yeah. If you're dissatisfied with the series ending, you're a coward.
Yeah, I don't really care for either ending, so I guess I'm neutral.
That's fair too. That is also fair, but I think in most of the ways that count, that is probably the happiest ending.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Madoka's going to go much more the way of Utena. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, it's going to be just one of them.
Yeah.
Probably Homura.
We shall see.
Because she's the sad one.
So you know, instead of the ending credits, we get the opening. So we finally
Which is
get
so
the opening
cool.
theme. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I actually love that.
I love that they did that, and
this whole thing has been the Avant that you saw in the first episode. All of it.
Pretty much. Which
is super cool.
Yeah. Honestly, we didn't do it, but after we had watched this in the group watch with everybody, I was like, we should watch that again. I want to watch that again.
Yeah. Like,
rewatch the whole thing from the beginning.
Let's just do this again.
Yeah, we didn't end up doing it because something else intervened, but it's such a good episode.
Yep.
And like, the opening makes a lot more sense now.
From the perspective of Homura.
Yeah, like this is Homura's opening credits at this point, kind of like this is the version of it that belongs to her, so to speak. But yeah.
Oh my god, I'm yawning. It's midnight.
It is, holy shit, that's what it is.
Midnight for me, not midnight for you guys.
Well, let's start wrapping up. This shit.
All right, now
this shit.
We've got a Curious Cat question that I think is good to do now. All right.
Oh, let's do it.
You did mention
Anonymous asked, as of episode 10, we've been told wishes for Mami, saving her life, Sayaka, healing her crush's arm, Kyoko, having people listen to her dad's sermons, and Homura, to have the power to save Madoka. How would you rank those from best to worst, however you want to define that? I'm thinking that Mami's is probably the best. If I had to pick one.
I think we're going to differ in our answers.
Okay.
Because I don't know, the way I'm going to evaluate it is probably necessarily different from the way you're going to evaluate it.
Well, I think that's the point of the question is what metrics would one use to decide?
I'm not sure how much you and I are going to differ, Vanna, but, I mean, we'll see.
Okay.
So, who wants to go first? Do you want to go first, Amanda?
Sure.
You go first.
So I'm looking at this as which wish do I think is the smartest? So for me, that would definitely be Mami.
Yeah.
Mami's wish makes the most sense to me, although she probably should have also wished for her parents to not die.
Yeah.
After that, probably Homura's might be the second smartest, but that's like I feel like Mami's is way higher in terms of whether it was a wise decision or something that she would end up regretting. Homura's might be second. Sayaka and Kyoko's wishes I feel like are kind of equally stupid. Kyoko she did a better job dealing with the situation afterwards, though.
Yeah.
So that probably nudges her up a rank. Above Sayaka.
That's not hard.
Yeah, but honestly, the only one I feel like, if I were to have made one of these wishes, the one that I probably would have been most okay with was the one where I wished to not die.
Yeah.
Instead of any of those other ones. What about you guys?
All right. Vanna, you go, and then, because I have a kind of, I think, a rough idea of what you'll do, maybe, and then I'll take the other option I have.
Well, I'm not sure by what metric I'm deciding this quite yet, but I do feel like Mami's is the best one. Or the most productive or wisest or something like that. Because that one is driven entirely by survival, and it's probably the first thing I'd think of to do is in some way preserve myself, frankly. If I'm being honest. That would be the kind of wish I would choose, would be one that's self-preservation. Okay, that's probably the sense that I'm judging these in. The next one after that is Homura's. And I'm saying that because I'm presuming I know you, and on top of self-preservation, if I don't know you, I don't care anyway. I would then, so that one's next after that. After that, I would say Kyoko's. Like, Kyoko and Sayaka both come from the same, jackass place, but at least Kyoko is trying to protect, someone that she loves and is loved by. She's trying to preserve a situation, at least. Also daddy. And Sayaka's, doing this shit with a 14-year-old crush that doesn't even like her, which is just dumb. That all said, I think we are forgetting that the best decision of all is saving the kitten.
I mean, yeah.
Come on, that's is the fair. Best. How do you not save a kitten?
Yeah, that's really fair.
That's a good fucking wish.
As someone deeply allergic to cats,
okay.
I don't know if I can jump on. If it was a puppy, absolutely.
For you, it's a puppy. For us, it's kittens. Yeah. And either way, we would destroy the rest of our world to protect them.
Do you guys watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should watch it. There's a great meme from it of this character, Rosa, who's like a hard-ass female cop, and I forget what happens in the episode, but she adopts a puppy, and so she has a very deadpan way of communicating, and she's like, I've only had him for 2 days, and if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself.
Yeah. that's a pet's meme. So
I think I've seen that meme.
Yeah, that's probably the best decision.
Okay, so you kind of picked most self-preserving. So I'm gonna try and go by most moral.
Oh, good luck.
Okay.
Have fun with that. I did not go for that.
Huh?
I did not go for that. It
did
not occur to me to think of it that way.
I know. That's why I said I had a good idea of what you were gonna do. No, here's the thing.
Let's do what your list is and then figure out what garbage set of morals you're using.
Okay, so most moral. In that sense, I would put Mami as least, because that is just strictly, that's self-preservation only.
Yeah, that's self-interest.
Let's see. Sayaka is taking care of somebody else.
So there's an attempt being made.
There's an attempt being made. Kyoko is, by extension, trying to take care of a lot of people.
Yeah, because she thinks of her dad as being a magical girl of his own right.
And then Homura is trying to save basically the entire world.
No, she's not. No.
By the time
it turns into that.
It turns into that, but that's not what's on her mind.
That isn't what's on her mind to begin with. That I'm trying to figure out, like, the crenellations of that one. I'm not... Yeah. Mami I would put at the bottom. The other three I'm not really quite sure where they end up, but I still think Kyoko is over Sakura. I'm just not sure where Homura lands on this, because it's such a complicated wish.
Yeah.
Like,
it's complicated because you have to narrow down exactly what her intent was, whether it was about Madoka or
it was about Madoka
or Earth, and I think Earth is like a distant third on that list.
Yeah, it's kind of an afterthought, but her wish does include it, because she basically is like, well, I will change all of time.
Yes.
Right.
So that's fair.
So, I'm gonna put her at second then, and say Kyoko's probably the most moral. Homura's probably second, maybe third, depending.
Who's first then?
No, Kyoko's first.
Okay.
Kyoko's first. Homura is second, because although her wish is about one person, it also encompasses literally the entire world.
At that point, you could almost like conflate her perception of Madoka with her perception of what Madoka does.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I'm doing. Okay. Is like, it's not just about preserving Madoka's life, because it could have just been, like we said way, way back, I think it was the other episode by now. Like we said, she could have just wished Madoka alive again.
Yeah. But
instead, she wished to basically recreate the world in such a way that Madoka was happy.
Yeah. And she knows that Madoka would not be happy if everyone else
the world
was
destroyed.
So
that narrowly edges her above Sayaka, who is only hoping for one other person's happiness and does not affect the rest of the world. And then Mami at the bottom, because she wishes for her own survival, and that's it.
She doesn't even think to save her family.
Yeah.
In that sense.
So, I don't know, it's not exactly straight up just moral. Actually, no. With Kyoko on top, that's...
You're thinking of it as, like, half and half, like, intent to do good and good that would be created as
well, you can't really, because you can't separate intent and action and outcome. Those are all parts of each other. Yeah. So you kind of have to take them all into account. Which is why I had so much trouble working that out.
Where does Kitten land?
Kitten? I mean, that's the most moral.
Okay, so in this podcast, 3 people that would save baby animals but destroy Earth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally valid.
Exactly how that works.
I can be a nurse. Like, I'm a nurse. I can do that. I can do terrible things to people. And if you take me to, like, the vet's office, I look like I could never do what you do. I could never be a vet. I would just die in a week.
I am sitting here with my tiny cat licking my fingers right now. See?
Aww.
Yep.
Yep.
Good question, though. I like that.
Yeah.
I like having to think of that in different ways.
Yeah. Now we can also return to somebody who sent us a message on Tumblr now. This is Tomte Fairytale Blog, who sent us a message a few weeks ago about some witches that I couldn't read to you guys because they were all witches from the last few episodes. So most of these, I just
re-listened to that episode.
Oh,
so
really?
I remember you mentioning this person.
All right.
So now that we've got this far, I can maybe read one of these to you. One of them is really long. We might want to save that for a different time. And we're not ready to get to it anyway, but we can read this one. It is about Kriemhild Gretchen. So, Tomte Fairytale Blog has this to say. I was reading H.A. Gruber's Myths and Legends of the Middle Ages from 1896 while trying to find some information for something I was working on. I came across the chapter on the Nibelungenlied. Sorry if I'm saying any of this stuff wrong. Probably am.
Nibelungenlied?
Something like that. Nibelungenlied?
Yeah.
I had read the Nibelungen Lied a few years ago for class, well, one version of it, but my memory was a bit rusty. Gerber's chapter begins by recounting the life of Siegfried's wife, Gudrun, or as she's alternatively known, Kriemhild. Gerber's retelling describes Kriemhild as living a peaceful and secluded life before suddenly being tormented by a strange dream. The dream in question was about her losing a falcon she cared for to two fierce eagles. A girl named associated with the name Kriemhild plagued by a dream. That sounds familiar. And then she put a picture of Madoka in the Tumblr post. So that was, yeah. I mean, I don't know anything about Norse mythology, so I don't necessarily know the significance of the Siegfried relationship.
Yeah. No,
there's definitely a lot of that kind of stuff being pulled in. Like, you don't start throwing around, like, Faust quotes and all this kind of nonsense out of nowhere.
I mean, that's just accretion of ideas. Like, you take one bit from here and one bit from there, kind of thing. I would be surprised if Gen Urobuchi had actually read that and been like,
I like it.
I like this idea of, this woman being tormented by a dream and
pairing that with the wife of Faust.
Yeah.
Yep. I like that. It's almost like kind of implying the wife of Faust was dreaming about the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was all a dream.
It was all a dream.
Does that make Homura Faust? Does that make Homura Faust?
Like, kind of all Faust to a certain degree.
They're kind of, yeah. Yeah, they all made the deals.
Mm-hmm.
For
anyway,
reasons.
I think that's going to about wrap us up here. It's after midnight, and I have
Yes.
But I had so much fun talking about this. I'm really proud of myself for not crying on during the podcast.
You have our verbal shit posts to get you through.
Yes, thank you. If you guys would like to follow the podcast, it is Madoka Magicast on Tumblr and Twitter. We are also on Patreon now. That is our good co-host Sam. He also wants you to check out the Patreon. There will be new info on the Patreon being posted shortly, probably by the time this gets public, but check it out anyway if you haven't looked yet. You can follow me on Twitter at Lambda Power or on Tumblr at Sailor Shippost.
And you can find us, me and Vanna, at ohtori.nu. On Twitter, we are ohtori_nu.
And that's about it, I think.
Well, I mean, we should probably, plug Panda and
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We always forget.
Because we didn't do that the first time. That's right, because we were like, hurry up.
Hurry up, I want a break.
So our producer, Panda, produces a ton of podcasts, including Imagine Me and Utena, which is the show that mostly inspired the show, and is her and her co-host going through Revolutionary Girl Utena and all of its accompanying material. All three of us have been in that podcast, so you can go look up our episodes if you want. And she also does Kappa Connection with our two lovely co-hosts here, Yasha and Vanna, for Sarah's On My, which is
Frog Butts.
It is Frog Butt anime.
Frog Butts. Yep. And what is it? The Fresh Podcast Market? Yeah, a real podcast about fake podcasts.
Yes, that's what she always says.
Yes. Yep. We've got this.
Yeah.
Free plug.
Thank you for listening, and I guess next episode we will be doing episode 11.
I'm so fucking excited.
I'm excited.
Join us. Have a
Bye.
good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.